How to develop a strong presence without saying much. Have you ever noticed how some people don't talk much, but still command attention? They're not the loudest in the room. They're not trying to impress. They're not constantly speaking. Yet somehow, people notice them. People respect them. People feel their presence. And the truth is, it's not about what they say. It's about how they show up. Because presence is not created through words. It's created through energy, through behavior, through how comfortable you are, without needing to fill every moment. Most people try to stand out by doing more, talking more, explaining more, trying harder. But real presence works differently. It comes from doing less, but doing it with intention. 1. What presence really means. Presence is often misunderstood. People think it's about confidence in speaking or having something interesting to say, but presence goes deeper than that. It's about how you carry yourself in every moment. It's about how you sit, how you move, how you react, and most importantly, how you handle silence. Here's a simple scenario. Two people walk into a room. One is talking immediately, trying to engage, trying to be noticed. The other is calm, observing, not rushing. Now, without even speaking, the second person feels different, more grounded, more controlled, more aware. That's presence. 2. Why talking too much weakens presence. When you talk too much, you lose control of your energy. You react more. You fill space unnecessarily. Here's a real-life example. You're in a conversation. There's a pause. Instead of letting it exist, you speak, then speak again, then add more. At that moment, you're not leading the interaction. You're chasing it, and that reduces your presence. Because presence requires comfort. Comfort with pauses. Comfort with silence. Comfort with not always being the one speaking. 3. The power of stillness. Stillness is one of the strongest signals of confidence. Because most people can't sit still. They move constantly. Check their phone. Shift their body. Talk to fill space. But someone with presence is still, not stiff, not forced, but relaxed. Here's a scenario. You're sitting in a group. People are talking. Instead of reacting to everything, you observe, you listen, you stay composed. And when you do speak, it feels intentional because it comes from stillness. 4. Control your reactions. Presence is built through control, not control over others, but control over yourself. Here's a real-life situation. Someone says something unexpected. Most people react immediately. They laugh quickly. They respond quickly. They show everything instantly. But someone with presence pauses, processes, then responds. That pause creates weight because it shows control. 5. Move with intention. How you move affects how you're perceived. Fast, rushed movements feel reactive. Slow, controlled movements feel confident. Here's a simple example. You walk into a room. Do you rush? Or do you move with awareness? Do you react to everything? Or do you stay grounded? That difference is felt immediately because movement reflects mindset. 6. Remove the need for attention. One of the biggest reasons people lack presence is the need to be noticed, the need to be heard, the need to be validated. Here's a scenario. You're in a conversation. Instead of listening, you're waiting for your turn to speak. You're thinking about what to say next. You're trying to add something impressive. That creates tension because your focus is external. Now imagine this instead. You're fully present. You're listening. You're not trying to impress. You're not trying to control the conversation. And because of that, your presence feels calm, balanced, effortless. 7. Speak less, say more. When you speak less, your words carry more weight because they're not constant. Here's a real-life example. In a group, someone is talking continuously. Their words blend together. Now someone else speaks occasionally. But when they do, it's clear, direct, intentional. People listen because it stands out. The same applies in every interaction. 8. Build internal calm. Presence starts internally. If your mind is restless, your behavior reflects it. Here's a scenario. You're constantly thinking, analyzing, overprocessing. That creates subtle tension. Now imagine this. You slow down your thoughts. You focus on the moment. You stop overanalyzing. Now your behavior becomes smoother. Your reactions become controlled. Your presence becomes stronger because it's coming from calmness. 9. Real-life transformation. Before, talking to fill silence. Reacting quickly. Seeking attention. Overthinking. After, comfortable with silence. Controlled responses. Focused presence. Natural confidence. Same person, different presence, different impact. At the end of the day, developing a strong presence is not about becoming someone else. It's not about acting mysterious. It's not about forcing silence. And it's definitely not about trying to appear confident. Because anything forced is felt immediately. Real presence comes from something much deeper. It comes from how you relate to yourself, how comfortable you are with your own thoughts, how grounded you are in your own space. Because when you're constantly seeking attention, you move differently. You react faster. You speak more than necessary. You try to fill every moment. Not because you have something to say, but because you don't want to feel unnoticed. And that energy is felt. But when you remove that need, everything changes. You stop trying to control how people see you. You stop performing. You stop over-adjusting your behavior. And instead, you become still. You become aware. You become intentional. You start noticing your actions, how you move, how you respond, how you sit in silence. And slowly, you begin to take control of those things. Not in a forced way, but in a natural way. Because you're no longer reacting. You're choosing. And that shift is powerful. Because when you move with intention, people feel it. When you speak with clarity, people listen. When you are comfortable in silence, people become curious. Because most people are not like that. Most people are constantly reacting, constantly filling space, constantly trying to be seen. But when you step out of that pattern, you stand out without trying. Not because you said more, but because you needed less. And that's what presence really is. It's not about adding something. It's about removing what's unnecessary. The extra words, the extra reactions, the extra need for attention. And what remains is something calm, something grounded, something real. So the next time you're in a conversation, don't focus on what to say next. Focus on how you're showing up. Are you reacting? Or are you present? Are you filling space? Or are you comfortable with it? Because the moment you shift that awareness, your presence begins to change. And when your presence changes, everything else follows. People notice. People respond differently. And you don't have to force anything because it's already there. And that is what makes presence powerful. Follow for more if you want to understand women better.